Hey everyone, thanks for spending some time with me today on Adam Live. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. Important day. We know freedom is not guaranteed. So thank you to all veterans who gave so much to this amazing country. We certainly appreciate it. If you notice, I got a beard going. So there's a story behind it. The Bitcoin conference in June of this year, I made a bet with someone. I'm not going to mention their name. And I said that Bitcoin would be 75,000 by November 5th. So about 5 months from the day of the conference. We got close, and Bitcoin's in the low 60s or mid 60s. It hit all the way up to almost 69. Now it's hovering around 64, 65. So I lost the bet. I'm still hopeful that Bitcoin's going to hit 75,000 soon, but it's not 75,000 today or as of November 5th. So I don't know. I'm going to keep it going a little bit. At some point when it gets annoying or my wife stops talking to me or looking at me, I'll probably shave it. But that's the reason I got this going on. So there you go. Where are we? So this week, let's talk about what happened this week. So inflation. Before I get into the 2022 contribution limits and some of the new contributions regarding solo 401ks, IRA stayed the same, but SEPs, simple, solo 401ks, 401ks, savers credit, all the fun stuff. There have been some changes for the positive, and probably the reason that we have changes is the I word, inflation. And there's actually been some pretty interesting statistics that just came out, which I'll read you. Pretty mind-blowing stuff, actually. That the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, which basically measures the price of goods, rose by 6.2% from a year ago in October, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's the quickest increase since 1990. Okay, it's pretty insignificant stuff, right? Over the course of the month, prices crept up almost 1%, 0.9%. So that's also pretty significant. And this is data relating to prices on gas, energy, shelter, food, used cars, trucks, like all the stuff that we care about. So pretty scary stuff. What does that mean for us? Well, obviously prices are going up. We all can see that. I was in New York yesterday. I had to take a Uber 3 miles from Tribeca to Madison Square Garden. I actually went to a basketball game a few nights ago with a business acquaintance to Kentucky, Kansas, Michigan State. A lot of fun. Anyways, 3 miles, $48 Uber ride. So just walking around the city, everything is crazy expensive. Way more, 30, 40% more than it was 6 months ago. This is not even a COVID thing, right? So it's all over the place. Senator Manchin is one of the few senators that is pushing back on the Build Back Better bill, right? Just as a way of backdrop, the infrastructure, $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill passed last week. And obviously the progressives wanted both bills to be passed together because they're worried that now that the infrastructure bill was passed, which actually was kind of bipartisan, there was a number of Republicans that voted for the bill because there are some positives. Obviously, our country definitely needs better infrastructure. Our roads, our bridges, our airports are a mess. I was just in LaGuardia, New York City yesterday, and it's finally being improved after like 40 years of dismay. One of the most powerful cities in the world had one of the ugliest airports in the world. So it's not just New York City. If you go to other cities across the country, the airports are a joke. If you travel to Asia, other parts of the world, you see the infrastructure and the growth and development, which we need. So I understand the importance of infrastructure, but now Senator Manchin is waking up and saying, I don't know about waking up, but he's basically pushing back and saying, hey, if we want to push back, if we want to pass a $1.75 trillion Build Back Better bill, we need to think about it now. Inflation, you saw from the CPI numbers. This is a big issue for everyone. And guess what happens when you pump $1.2 trillion back into the economy? Prices go up, right? Even if it's paid for with increasing taxes, that money is still trickulating through the economy. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, so far the Build Back Better bill is not passed, right? There's a couple of IRA provisions in there. The really, really negative stuff on self-directed IRAs have been removed, thank God. But there's still some stuff in there like removal of the backdoor Roth IRA, which we'll talk about in a minute. The removal of the Mega Backdoor Roth 401k, which we'll also get to. There's also a cap of $10 million, although it will not kick in until 2029. So that is easier to digest. But still some provisions probably going to get in there. Probably it's going to pass. I just don't see the Democrats walking away from this opportunity where they control the Congress, Senate, and presidency without getting some type of budget reconciliation bill passed. It just would be political suicide, even though they saw what happened in Virginia and almost lost New Jersey. They know they need to get something done, and we'll see how the moderates end up dealing with the progressives in getting this thing done. So let's talk about what happened. 2022, what's going to happen to your IRA and 401k? Well, let's start with IRA, actually. Traditional IRA and Roth IRA rates actually did not go up in 2022. Surprising. Actually, super surprising. I thought they would go up at least $500. It's still the same cap, $6,000 or $7,000 if you're over 50 years old. That did not go up. It stayed the same from 2021. What did go up a little bit, at least, is your ability to get pre-tax contributions if you have access to an employer work plan. So if you have access to a 401k at work, how much do you have to make in order to potentially lose out the ability to also make a pre-tax IRA deduction? And the phase out was $208,000 in 2021. It's now $214,000. Okay, so if you make more than $214,000 and you have access to a 401k, you cannot make a pre-tax contribution. You could potentially do Roth, but likely not, right? Because we'll get to that in a minute. There's also an income phase out. And as of today, you can still do a backdoor IRA to Roth, but that, as I just mentioned in the Build Back Better bill, may be eliminated. So if you make more, and possible, very, very possible that if you make more than $214,000 in 2022, you're not going to be able to make IRA contributions because technically you can do after tax, but what's the point if you can't convert it to Roth? No one wants after tax because you don't get a tax deduction and you don't get tax-free growth. So you might as well just invest it yourself without having the IRA rules attached to it. Now, there's also just regular old phase outs for doing pre-tax contributions, and they are 100 and well, if you're single, it's 129 is the new phase out. Again, if you have access to a retirement plan, just something to keep in mind. That there are income phase outs if you have access to a retirement plan. It's 214, and if you're single, it goes to 129 from 125. So just something to keep in mind. Roths also stayed the same, right? $6,000 or $7,000 like traditional IRAs. There's also an income phase out, and it also went from 208 to 214. So same thing. If you make more than 214, you cannot do a Roth IRA in 2022. We'll see what happens with the after-tax elimination of the backdoor Roth IRA. But as of today, it's in the Build Back Better bill. So it seems as of 2022, the backdoor Roth IRA will be bye-bye. Again, I've talked about this repeatedly. I disagree with this rule. Yes, agreed. It was the rule prior to 2009. If you made more than a certain income threshold, you were not allowed to do a Roth IRA and not able to do a backdoor. But in 2009, because of the financial crisis, they got rid of the backdoor. They got rid of the income thresholds because they wanted more taxpayers to do conversions. So by way of that, you were able to do the backdoor because there were no income limits on converting after tax to Roth, just like there were no income limits for converting pre-tax to Roth. That caused a lot of investors, a lot of retirement savers to save more. Nothing wrong with that, right? And I said this repeatedly. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they're not getting rich by putting an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 in an IRA or Roth. Who's that helping? You and me, right? Regular folks, middle upper class folks that just want to put a little bit more money away to retire for our kids and hopefully for their kids, right? Just a little bit more money to save, another incentive. Hey, I can put another couple. If you make more than $208,000 in 2021, hey, you're doing really well. Not easy to make $208,000 married file jointly, right? Not easy to make six figures, but doesn't mean you're rich, right? I'm giving this example. I have multiple neighbors, doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers. They make more as a family than $208,000. They have the same problems you and I do, right? They got to pay their mortgage. They got to get their kids through school. They got to go on vacation. They got credit card bills. They got school debt. It's not, and they have taxes to pay, right? So it's not so easy. So having the ability to put away a couple thousand extra in a Roth, I think is a really nice opportunity to incentivize savings. And unfortunately, the Build Back Better bill will eliminate it. It's not going to save money. It's actually going to reduce Treasury's ability to collect taxes. Why? Think about this. Potentially, even if I make more than the 208, let's say I make more than 208,000. Okay. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to max out my 401k. Why? Because I want to keep some extra powder so I can make Roth contributions by doing the backdoor. Now you're going to say, you know what? I can't do the backdoor. Guess what? I'm just going to max out my 401k pre-tax and reduce my taxable income. When you have more deductions, you reduce taxable income, means less money for Treasury. So I think this provision will actually hurt Treasury's ability to collect revenue because more people will be forced to be making pre-tax contributions instead of Roth. So again, it's just a policy. This is about Senator Wyden, okay? And I'll focus on Wyden because it seems like he's the one that's really spearheading this push. And he controls the Senate Finance Committee, and he's always had an issue with Roth IRAs, big IRAs, and he just sees Roth IRAs as another way that rich people can trick the system and get more money in a tax sheltered account. What he doesn't understand is people are not generating millions and billions of dollars on an extra few $1,000s in contributions. They're doing it by the investment. They're not doing it by the contribution. Yes, you can give the Peter Thiel example, but for every Peter Thiel who has billions of dollars in a Roth, there's millions and millions and millions of Americans that have 10 or 20 or 30 grand in a Roth that are just trying to get by, just trying to put away a little bit more to save. So it's a policy play. It has nothing to do with raising money. It's nothing to do with paying for a Build Back Better bill. This was stuck in there, again, as a policy to try to limit shenanigans in Roth IRAs, even though we know that's not the case. How do I know that's not the case? Well, two reasons. Number one, I've been in the self-directed industry, 12 years. So I've seen 30,000 clients. I've seen what people do. People are worried about making good investments. They're worried about IRS. They do not want to do prohibited transactions. They're not trying to game the system. Number two, how do I know? Because the IRS told me so. There's a provision that's still in the Build Back Better bill that increases the statute of limitation from 3 to 6 years for IRAs. So you would think that would raise a whole lot of money, right? They have 3 extra years to go out and find all these shenanigans, all these Roth rich people that are gaming the system. Well, guess what? They only think that's going to raise $42 million over 10 years. So if there was so much abuse out in the system, don't you think they would have a number? And again, these numbers are always exaggerated. Don't you think they'd have a number of greater than 42 million bucks? Yeah, exactly. So just policy. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the backdoor Roth IRA gets removed, and at least the provision gets removed, and you can still do in 2022. But as of today, the Build Back Better bill has a provision that will eliminate the backdoor Roth IRA. So this could be your last year for doing it. Let's go to SEP IRAs. SEP IRA, just for a background, is a profit sharing plan. In 2021, you can do 58,000 profit sharing, 20% if you're self-employed, Schedule C taxpayer, single member LC, 25% W-2. So if you made $100,000, you're a single member LC, you can do $20,000. If you have a small business, W-2, C Corp, S Corp, you can do 25% of your comp, up to a max of 58K. 2022, the contribution limits have been increased to 61,000. So it went up $3,000, which is good stuff. Why inflation, right? That's why this stuff goes up. It's all tied into inflation. People need to put away more money because prices are going up. They're hopefully making more money as well, so greater ability to save. Simple IRA, which again is a small type of mini 401k, smaller employee deferrals. 13,500 is the limit for 2021. The new limit is 14,000. So it went up $500. There it is. Let's move into the 401k world. Okay, so if you have a 401k at work, 2021, you're able to put in 19,500 or 26,000 if you're over 50. The new rules in 2022, the employee deferral if you're under 50 went up to 20,500, so it went up $1,000. And for those over 50, the new limit was or is going to be 27,000, and that went up from 26,000. That went up $1,000. So depending on your plan, if you work at Tesla or Apple or Ford or IRA Financial, you generally have the ability to do pretax or Roth, and this is employee deferral. This comes out of your paycheck, right? This is not an employer match. This is not a profit sharing. This is the employee deferrals. The old rule, again, 19.5 or 26 if you're over 50. The new rule, 20,500 or 27,000 if you're over 50. Pre-tax or Roth, depending on your plan. So that's good. Good news, right? Went up $1,000. Now, let's talk about if you get safe harbor match of 3, 4, 5%, that's not going to change, right? The aggregate maximum in a solo 401k was 58,000 or 64,500. That includes employee deferrals, any type of profit sharing, match, anything. 58K or 64.5. That was the rule in 2021. The new rules are 61,000 or 67,500. So in 2022, if you're under 50 years old, the most you can put away into a 401k is $61,000, up 3,000 like a SEP. And if you're over 50, there's a catch up of 6,500 that will get you up to 67,500. So it got up $3,000 from 58 to 61, 64 to 67, 64.5 to 67.5. So $3,000 just like the SEP. So good news. That's why I'm pretty shocked that the IRA, traditional Roth, did not go up even $500. I'm pretty surprised about that, but I don't make the rules up. So now let's go into the solo 401k rule. We know the employee deferral 19.5 and 26 for 2021. That went up to 20,500 and then 27,000 if you're over 50. Now the aggregate, when you put in employee deferrals and profit sharing, the old max was 58 and 64.5. The new max is 61 and 67.5. So let's do a couple examples, right? You make $100,000. You're over 50. Or let's do it, you're under 50. Sole proprietor, okay? So you can do 20,500 plus 20%. 20% of 100 gives you approximately 40,500. Okay? Over 50, you can do 27,000 plus 20% of 100, 47. W-2, under 50, same rule, same example, $100,000. You can do 20,500 plus 25,000, giving you 45,500. If you're over 50, you can do 27,000 plus the 25% of 100. If you're a W-2, 25,000, 52,000. Okay, so in both cases, you're under that maximum of the 61 and 67.5. So once you hit that max, say you make $1 million a year, you're going to be capped at 61 or 67.5. Remember, employee deferrals, the 19.5, which is now 25, and the 26, that's now 27. That is or can be in pre-tax or Roth, depending on your plan. Okay, so in the solo world or the 401k world, you have an increase on the employee deferrals of 1,000 on the aggregate if you do a solo, because generally if you work at a large corporation, you're never going to get to that 61 or 67.5 because you're not going to have the ability to do profit sharings, or at least your employer is not going to give you a profit sharing contribution that rises to that level. So that's really the aggregate amounts really for solo 401k, someone who's self-employed, someone who has a business with no full-time employees other than the owners or spouses. Full-time employee generally means 1,000 hours in a year. So if you're eligible, solo is a great way to put away a lot more money. You saw the differences. IRAs, 6,000 or 7,000. Solo K, 61 or 67,500. SEP IRA does have the max of 61, but it's a pure profit sharing plan, right? No employee deferrals, and there's no catch up. So example, you're over 50 years old, you make 100K W-2. If you have a SEP, all you can put in is $25,000, right? 25%. of 100K. If you have a solo K, you can do now under the new rules 20,000, 27,000 because you're over 50, plus 25% of 100, 25,000, giving you 52. 52 is a lot more than 25. So you can see the solo K is far more beneficial from a retirement standpoint than the SEP IRA. Plus, the solo K also has a loan feature that lets you borrow the lesser of 50,000 or 50% of your account value. SEP IRA is just pre-tax. Solo K does have Roth options. So you put all these factors together, you'll see why the solo 401k has become the most popular plan for the self-employed. Now let's move real quick to defined benefit plans. Defined benefit plans, a super, super attractive pension plan if you are looking to put away more than the solo 401k limit. So if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you want to put away more than $60,000 a year, the defined benefit plan will let you do that. The maximum you can put away in 2022 is $245,000 in a DB, but I can combo that with a 401k that will let you get above the $300,000. And if the old max for 2021 was $230,000, so it went up $15,000 from 21 to 22. And if you're interested in this, let me know, because I work with two amazing pension plan companies called Pension Investors. They've been in business since the 70s. They have thousands of pension plans, big and small, they administer. And they have clients all over the country. And trust me, they are the best. Smartest people I've ever met, actuaries on staff, and they will help customize a plan. You really only want to do a DB cash balance plan if you have steady income generally, and you're looking for deductions over $60,000, $70,000 a year. Then the DB cash balance combo 401k is the ultimate pension plan, because you can put away a lot more than a SEP or a 401k. The only thing to remember is generally there's a 3-year commitment, 3 to 5 years, but minimum 3 years. So if you have like a 1-year windfall and you don't think that's going to continue for 2 or 3 years, you just may want to do a solo K. This defined benefit plan may not be a great option because you have certain responsibilities under the plan. But if you're a lawyer, doctor, consultant, real estate agent, and you have steady income and you think that income will be steady, and even if it's not growing, but it's consistent, and you're looking to do deductions over $70,000 a year, give us a call, let me know. I'll put you in touch with the people at Pension Investors, and they can customize a plan for you. There's no cost to obviously do a consult, see if they can help you. But you can go to pensioninvestors.com, or you can let me know and I'll put you in touch with the experts at Pension Investors. One last thing before I get to questions. Savers credit is going up. This is a credit that you will get if you have income below a certain threshold, basically free money. And 2022 limits is up from 66 and 51,000. So it went from 66 to 68,000. So you can make a little bit more money and still get the ability to get that savers credit. So let me spend some time going into questions. Thanks for the beard. Appreciate it. Solo 401k has been terminated for 2020 with 5,500 EZ. Less likely to be audited for the 2020 tax year. I don't know about auditing. I don't know. I don't know what triggers audits. No one does. Generally, if you terminate the plan, it's not. I don't think you're more likely or less likely to get audited. Very few solo Ks get audited. I think last couple of years, under 200 plans a year were audited. Defined contribution 5,500 EZs. So not something that you really have to be worried about. But again, if you do nothing wrong, you work with IRA Financial, we'll help you out. There's really nothing to be worried about. I've been through a number of solo K audits. Essentially, they're going to ask for the docs, the opinion letter. They're going to want to make sure you actually have a plan. You're not just passing through fictitious deductions. And they may ask what you've invested in, but that's it. Generally, that's what they're focused on is the plan. If the Build Back Better is passed with the status of limitations being increased to 6 years for solo Ks, no, it's only IRAs, Tom, for whatever reason. I don't know why. IRAs, again, it's Center Wyden who thinks that Roth IRAs are just a medium for rich people to do really bad stuff. It's not true. We know that. If it was so easy and so true, we'd all have 5, 10, 15 million bucks in a Roth IRA, right? If it was so easy to just stick in, founder stock and have that stock go from 0 to 10 million bucks, we'd all do it. But the facts are 90% of all startups fail in 5 years, right? It's not easy to do. So that's why, it's kind of frustrating. I'll say it again. I've repeated this many times, but retirement accounts have always been bipartisan. It's always been something that Democrats, Republicans agreed on. Saw it with the Secure Act in 2019, where it was almost unanimously passed. And it's frustrating that some, and I don't want to mention all Democrats or Republicans in House and Senate. There's some, mainly Senator Wyden and a few other people, that they just have it in for IRAs, especially Roth IRAs. Again, the numbers don't bear this out, but in his mind, he just sees and perceives trickery. And I know our industry doesn't see it. We less than 1% of our accounts have over $1 million. Who uses self-directed IRAs? People like us, right? Not super rich, uber wealthy people. People are just trying to make a living, get by, save for our families, save for the future. Those are the people that have IRAs. According to the ICI.org, the majority of IRA owners are low to middle class. So it's too bad. BBB passes unchanged. What contributions can I make to a 401k Roth? 59 years old, only making after-tax to after-tax Roth. So there, as I mentioned, Richard, good question. As the BBB is today, there is an elimination, I should say, for the Mega Backdoor Roth 401k. I talked about the Mega Backdoor IRA. The Mega Backdoor 401k basically allows someone to do after-tax contributions, $58,000 or $64,500 in 2021, and after-tax, and then immediately convert it to Roth 401k and Roth IRA. There is a provision that seeks to eliminate that. So if the BBB passes and this provision is in a final bill, we will not be able to do Mega Backdoor Roth 401ks any longer, 2022 and beyond. Too bad, right? Again, policy. Who's doing Mega Backdoors? I mentioned this on a podcast I did yesterday and a number of other videos. Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Peter Thiel, they're not self-employed people. These are people that don't care about $58,000, $64,500 in Roth. Who are doing Mega Backdoor? Sole practitioners, small business owners. In fact, even if you're an investment banker at JP Morgan or a big-time partner at a major law firm in New York, you're likely not going to be doing Mega Backdoor 401ks because you're essentially going to be failing the ERISA ACP test. There's a Wall Street Journal article several months ago that estimated about 20% of 401ks have a after-tax to Roth feature. That doesn't mean people are doing it. The problem with actually accomplishing a Mega Backdoor at a big plan like a Tesla plan or Apple is there's something called the ACP test, which is a contribution percentage test under ERISA. Essentially, you need to be able to pass it. So that means enough rank and file employees need to do this in order to pass that test versus the high compensated partners or bankers, whoever the highly compensated are in that scenario. So generally, who are doing Mega Backdoor, generally you don't have a lot of people doing it from rank and file employees and the highly compensated. So you have a situation where you generally have top heavy, or you're going to fail the ACP test because there's not enough contribution being done by rank and file employees because generally they don't want to do after tax, right? They want to do either pre-tax or Roth. So if you can get away with it, this could be your last year. But it's a policy play, as I mentioned. This is not going to raise revenue. When you go after tax to Roth, it's after tax. There's no revenue raise. It's actually, as I mentioned, this will specifically decrease revenue. Why? Simple. If I can't do an after tax to Roth, now my choices are Roth, but I'm limited to the $20,500 or the $27,000 next year, or I just do pre-tax and I suck it up and do what my accountant wants me to do and says, Adam, go get deductions. Forget about the Roth, just get deductions. That's going to reduce your taxable income. And now, honestly, I have a tougher position to fall back on because you know what he's going to tell me, or she actually, she's going to say, Adam, Look, they just changed the rules on you. They're going to change the rules on Roth. They just took away the mega backdoor. They took away the backdoor. Just get that deduction. Put in the 19.5 or the 25 because I'm under 50. Get your deduction today. Deal with Roths in the future. The IRS can change the rules on us in 2, 5, 10, 30 years. So there's no guarantee that that Roth will actually be protected. So you might as well get your deduction. Which again, I've always been Roth. I wrote a book on the Roth. In God we trust and Roth we prosper. Like, I'm an advocate for Roth. All my retirement funds are in Roth. Bitcoin, all the Bitcoin I own, all the cryptos I own are in Roth. I'm only 46. I'm hoping I'm going to have millions and millions and millions. I'm sorry, Senator Wyden, you may have to come after me, but I've done everything right? I've bought stocks, I buy real estate, buy cryptos. Is it my fault that I've saved? I continue to save. I'm consistent, and I've had some lucky breaks. We'll see what happens in 2029 if that 10 million cap is there or not. I don't know. But all I can tell you is my goal is to get to 10 million bucks. And the goal for all of us is should get to 10 million bucks. If you start saving in your 20s and you have some good investments, you will get to 10 million bucks. It's also a time value of money thing, right? I've said this repeatedly. In 8 years, there will be more people that have $10 million than today. Why? Your money doubles every 8 years based off the principles of compounded returns. Assuming you can get an 8% rate of return, your money doubles every 8 years. So the people that have $5 million today should, assuming the markets don't crash, have 10 million in 8 years. So Senator Wyden or someone else will wake up or will stand on a soapbox and say, oh my God, there's so many more rich people. What's going on? There must be trickery in the Roth IRAs. We have to stop this. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. No, it's called time value of money. In 8 years, there'll be more rich people than there were today. In 16 years, there'll be more rich people than there are in 8 years. Just the way it works. But that's the beauty and that's the power of the retirement system. And that's why it gets me so upset when more people don't save in a retirement account. This is the game. Your money grows faster when it's not subject to tax. You want to cap us at 10, 20, 30 million, whatever. We'll deal with a cap. But people should still be saving in our IRA or Roth. It makes too much sense to do it. And my only question to the members of Congress and Senate is when you start changing the rules mid-game, you de-incentivize people to save. You change people's perspective, and people lose faith. Okay, when people lose faith, their behavior changes. Their behavior changes, they may say, you know what? Whatever, I'm not going to save. I'm just going to spend. Or I'll save in a regular account. And what's going to happen is less people have money at retirement, which means a bigger burden on the government. We're not teaching the young a good lesson. We should be educating young people to save, not changing the rules on them. We should be encouraging them to get to 10, 15, 20 million bucks, not punishing them for getting to 10 million bucks. It's not a good policy, right? We want more people saving. We want people saving in a retirement account. Why? Eventually the money is going to circulate in the economy, right? Eventually when you die, the money goes to your spouse. When your spouse passes, this money goes to your kids. Your kids have 10 years to spend it. If it's pre-tax, it's going to be subject to tax. If it's Roth, it'll be after tax. Could be subject to estate tax, depending on where the estate tax regime is. And that money will go back to the economy. Plus, IRAs, $12 trillion. Guess what? They help support the economy. They invest in real estate. They invest in small businesses. They buy private placements. They buy gold. They buy cryptos. They buy stocks, right? All this stuff helps the economy and helps the U.S. economy prosper. So by attacking people's retirement accounts, by forcing people to sell and lose faith in the retirement system is not good policy. And that's the unfortunate part. Yeah, you can do a self-directed pension. And the defined benefit, it is possible to buy real estate and do other things. So yes, you can do it. My name is Mark. How do I set up an HSA? Yeah, go on. You can go on our website and submit information. We'll send you all the info you need to get an HSA. Our app at this point does not include an HSA onboarding. We're working on HSA and Coverdale's. Our app only allows you to onboard traditional Roth, SEP, Simples, 401ks, solo Ks. So if you want an HSA, you can submit a request, or you can go to IRA Financial Trust, download the HSA docs. But we're working on adding HSAs and Coverdale's to our app. Another one, do I set up another IRA with my existing IRA financial login? Yeah, you could. You can go in and set up another IRA, just do new application, new account. You're good to go. Again, I just want to I do these Adam Lives generally every Wednesday or Thursday. I was traveling back from New York yesterday, so I couldn't do it. But it's a great opportunity, even if you're not interested in the subject. If you have a question for me, it's a great venue, great medium. Just type in your question. It could be on anything. It doesn't have to be on the topic of the day. It could be on anything regarding IRAs, 401ks. If you want to ask me about the Dolphins and why they suck, you can ask me that too. But you have questions on cryptos, whatever, anything, I will try to answer. If I don't know the answer, like why the Dolphins suck, I will get back to you on that. But other than that, appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Happy Veterans Day again to all our veterans. Thank you. Thank you for making this country what it is. Thank you for everything you do. Just have to look around, go online, right, and just go up and down world news, and you see freedom is not guaranteed. Okay, we are so lucky to live in this amazing country. So putting things in perspective, yeah, we may, I don't want to say fight, but we debate policy and Democrats, Republicans, and everyone's trying to fight for their policy. But at the end of the day, we're Americans. We got to remember we're one nation. We're an amazing selection of people that believe in freedom. And no matter what we squabble over, we have to embrace the fact that we value freedom, and the veterans have done everything to keep us free. So thank you to all the veterans, men and women in America, around the world, that putting their life on the line for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And IRA Financial does offer veteran discounts. So if you are a veteran, remember, let us know. We will take care of you. We'll give you expedited service and give you a discount in fee, even if you're not on active duty, as long as you've served some capacity. Thank you, and we will take good care of you, we promise. So thanks again. Have a wonderful day, and hope to see everyone again next week.